high time the trade unions were reorganized and repositioned to challenge the dominance of the political space by the ruling class and the implementation of neoliberal economic policies, including the removal of subsidies, devaluation of the national currency, dollarization of the economy, unemployment and poverty. Just yesterday, the NNPC announced that by May this year, not a dime will be remitted to the Federation account. You know what that means. But ASCAM has recently compiled a report where we have challenged the government, and we are going to Prof has suggested, Professor Olorode, that we should pamphleteer. We must let Nigerians know the information in this statement, which is that the government can recover 94 trillion naira. We have stated where these funds have been either stolen or hidden by the NNPC. This NNPC that is saying there will be zero allocation. Please, you can Google where you are. The Auditor General of the Federation has revealed that between 2010 and 2014, $16 billion worth of fuel has not been accounted for by the NNPC. $16 billion. Also, the Revenue Mobilization and Allocation Commission has also come out. NAITI has come out also to say that the NNPC has failed to remit to the Federation account $22 billion dividends paid by LNG, for the country. NNPC has not denied these very serious allegations or given any explanation. So, if they say there is no money now, because what they are doing is to say, we are not going to remit, to blackmail Nigerians, we are not going to remit money because we are paying for subsidies. So they are coming. Governors will then say, oh, let us cancel subsidies so that we can have money to pay salaries, and pension, and so on and so forth. But Nigerians must tell them there are alternative sources. We wrote to the president, recover 94 trillion. Nobody has challenged us for telling lies or that we are trying to promote false information. But we are going to insist now that this is the way to go. The invitation to the United States of America to come to Nigeria to combat security. The 1962 Anglo-Defense Nigeria Defense Power was imposed on the ruling class by the departing British colonial regime. But this part was rejected by Nigerian students and workers. A few years later, Nigeria led the struggle for the decolonization of the African continent. Indeed, the liberation of Africa became the cornerstone of the foreign policy of Nigeria. On January 14, 1976, the late military ruler, General Murtala Mohammed, called off the bluff of imperialism when he declared, unquote, Africa has come of age, end of quote. Despite geographical distance, Nigeria was made a frontline state on account of our enormous moral and financial contribution to the struggle against apartheid and colonial rule in the Southern African region. Nigeria has also, through the ECOWAS, ensured the restoration of law and order in war-torn neighboring countries like Liberia and Sierra Leone, and prevented civil wars in the Gambia and Guinea-Bissau. Regrettably, Nigeria is currently witnessing the virtual collapse of the security architecture of the new colonial state due to the diversion of huge funds, the amount for procurement of arms and ammunition for the armed forces and the police by successive regimes. According to ASCA, about $15 billion have been diverted by a coterie of army generals waging war against terror and banditry. And without consulting either the African Union or the ECOWAS, the federal government has asked President Biden to relocate the U.S. African Command in Germany to Africa. Africa fought against the location, sighting of that American defense pact in any territory. In fact, when Liberia attempted about 5 years ago to ask for Africa, ECOWAS almost sanctioned their country. But our own president is now begging America, please help us. But listen to me. Since 2009, the cry for help in prosecuting the counter-insurgency operation are falling on the deaf ears of the leaders of the West. As if that was not enough, the United States and our allies have prevented Nigeria from acquiring vital security equipment. We're ready to pay. They say no, don't sell arms to them. Let Boko Haram continue. According to them, due to the abysmal human rights record of Nigeria. In particular, the federal government has been accused of failing to account for the prolonged detention of thousands of people in military camps without trial and the extrajudicial execution of unarmed civilians by military and police personnel. Although the federal government said no problem, we shall investigate. In 2017, the federal government set up 2 judicial commissions of inquiry to investigate. My friend, our corporate Tipo was a member of one of them, to investigate allegations of gross abuse of human rights of the Nigerian people. But the report of both panels have not seen the light of day. Hence, the government has failed to prosecute the security personnel indicted by the panel. Even though the Buhari administration was allowed by America, was strict by America, to pay the sum of $329 million for 12 Super Tucano fighter jets in November 2018 to aid the counter-insurgency operations in the Northeast region. The jets have not been delivered up to now. Instead of giving Nigeria the false impression that the United States is going to send troops to defend them, America is just, Biden is just withdrawing American troops from Afghanistan. They are not coming here. They won't be deceived. We're challenging the federal government and we're calling on labor to mobilize Nigerians to compel the government to embark on mass recruitment of military and police personnel because our country is under-policed. We must equip them and motivate them to defend every part of the country. In addition, all states and local governments should proceed to set up defense committees constituted by young men and women in every community to collaborate with the police in securing the lives and properties of our people. The way forward. In my analysis, I have tried to show that the trade union movement, in comparison with the Michael Modu, Nukaese, Wahab Goodluck, Hassan Soumane, and Abi Shiroma generations, the trade union movement has since the Bafia era suffer from lack of clear-headed, unambiguous, and principled stand on national development. However, given the rise of ethno-religious cleavages and the dominance of the individual over the collective, the labor movement remains the most pan-Nigerian and practically the only movement that can command voluntary national compliance on national issues and action. Centrifugal forces are gathering momentum, having begun to dictate the direction and pace of the country's movement. The patriotic and pan-African forces in the country need to close ranks and move the country towards a different direction. And time is not on our side. We are not unaware of the ongoing effort by the NSC to repossess the Labour Party, rename and rebrand it or retire it in favor of a new party. Whatever may be the case, the fortunes of the Labour Party or its successor will depend on many factors, including the trust workers have in the leadership of the trade union movement, public confidence in labor, and the fidelity of labor leaders to the movement, workers' ideology and faith in the ability of workers, farmers, intellectuals, and the youth to redirect the country from the current ruinous politics of the mainstream political party. Notwithstanding the success recorded by the NSAS movement last year in the popular agitation of the youth against police brutality, Labour remains the only group that has the capacity to mobilize and organize the Nigerian people politically to seize power from the soiled hands of members of the ruling class. In other words, Labour has to reject lethargy, step forward and play its leading role in facilitating the accession to power by the Nigerian people. It is pertinent to disclose here that at an alternative political summit held in Abuja last month and attended by a number of socialist groups, radical political parties, and progressive labor and youth organizations, it was resolved that a common platform called People's Alternative Political Movement be established as a tool for political engagement, social intervention, and contestation for political power, as a coalition committed to the emergence of a mass workers' party and the socialist transformation of Nigeria. The movement further resolved to embark on a 3-month broad consultation to popularize the political platform and its program, mobilize other left groups and radical progressive forces to join in the new initiative, and intervene regularly in the day-to-day struggles of the popular masses across the country. In his goodwill message at the summit, Comrade Toye Olorode charged us thus, and I quote him: "The Nigerian ruling class have, especially in the last 2 decades or so, grouped and regrouped, conspiring with international capital to push Nigeria to the current economic and cultural brink that has also begun to threaten the very integrity of our country and the centuries-old solidarity among our people. Let us reiterate that we are here to declare again that a new Nigeria is possible, and to declare the imperative of pursuing and realizing that possibility. We are here today to pursue the restoration of the sovereignty and the dignity of Nigeria's working masses, to pursue the restoration of the ownership of Nigeria to them. We are here to pursue the restoration of the strength of the diversity in our country and of our people. We are here to pursue the untapping of the liberating economic, social, and cultural powers of solidarity among the dispossessed, impoverished, and humiliated masses of Nigeria. We are not here to substitute ourselves for the masses and their self-organizing power. We are here to pursue solidarity with them and with their organization. That is Comrade Toye Olorode. Upon a critical review of the nation, the summit came to the irresistible conclusion that Nigeria's capitalist ruling class and the state, as presently constituted and structured ideologically and politically, cannot halt what now increasingly threatens to become a terminal crisis for the nation. The platform has decided to mobilize the working people of Nigeria in contestation of political power with the ruling class by any means necessary. When they make it impossible for you to have election, then you have to think of other options to achieve the objective. The movement decided to strengthen its relationship with the labor movement in order to reclaim the workers' movement, broaden the base, and promote working people's participation in the political and economic processes of the country towards the realization of the socialist transformation of the country. As part of its mobilization work among the popular masses, the movement would build and organize our women, our youths, students, peasants, and other exploited groups in the country, as well as Nigeria Nigerians in the diaspora and build effective political relationships with their movements and organizations. Finally, comrades, as I thank you for your patience, permit me to wish Professor Olorode happy birthday and many more years of healthy and productive service to the country and humanity. Thank you very much, comrades.
Thank you very much for the extended Falana. I'll just quickly go to